So this is, let's see, make sure this is recording. So this is the stat checker project that I made a blog post about it recently about how to build a back-end database. Here on the left side of the screen you can see this is the back-end that I had finished. I actually modified it a little bit from what was in the blog post. So anyway, I will post a link to that article as well, so you can go back and reference it if you'd like to. Over here on the left is the front end for it, which I had started building here, and I just wanted to show a few things about how kind of the entire process works. So we've got this is kind of our authorization. Right here we've got our GET request. Well, first we'll actually look at our POST request. Let's comment. Let's see, that is fine the way we've got that there. Let's see. Okay. All right. So let's look at this POST request here. So this POST request lines up, or not this POST request. Sorry, should specify which one. This one lines up with this right here, with these category, activity name, quantity, and metric. So the first part of the create, we're going to create a new activity. And right now, if we go to our database, we can see that the database is empty. So we're going to connect to it. We're going to see our stats, our collections, activities, and it's empty. We don't have anything in there. So we want to create a new activity for our database. And so the first part of the creativity is these the words in white here: activity name, activity type, metric, quantity. That comes from our schema right here, and you can see it's exactly like we have it here. Activity type, which is a string, activity name, which is a string, activity quantity, and then metric. So that's where it's getting that information from. The second part of it is what it's going to place in the database on those types. And so we're telling this the rec.body.category, rec.body.activity The body refers to here the API activities, which is what we're on. And if we go to all activities, this page here, we have a form that has names for each of these inputs. So each of these input here has a name, and the name for this first one is category. This doesn't have to do with a label or anything else. This is just the name of the input. So the name for the second category is activity name. The third one is quantity, and the fourth one is metric. So if we go back here to app.js, that's basically what it's saying. It says go to the body, find that name. Go to the body, find this name. Whatever is in here in the body and that is going to go to our database here for this field. So let's go ahead and add something. We'll say eating bananas. 3 whole bananas. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever. So now we've got a new activity or new category for eating, and if we go to that, it's going to show us the activity, new activity. For some reason it's telling us that. That's weird. Oh, let's see, I've made a mistake here. Earlier I changed this. Let's go here to our single activity, and I believe right here, let's see, showing activities in activity name. Oh yeah, that never mind, that is right, it just is redundant. So I thought I'd messed up, but no. Unfortunately, I didn't. Anyway, so that's how that works. We posted something. We can try to post something else. So we'll do a new category: leisure, eating, or riding horses. 3 hours of riding horses. So now if we go to leisure, we got a new activity. So you can see that's how we're creating this new activity for our database. If we go back to our database here using this program called Robot3T, we can see we've got these new activities here based on our input. And so it's creating those activities and then it's posting them here in our database or on our page. The way we're posting that is through Mustache. So if we go to all activities here, down here at the bottom we're using Mustache, we have activities and we're just showing the activity type. And I've wrapped that in a link so you can see here we've got this ahref and the thing it's going to display is the activity type right here. So we could actually change that to be activity name if we wanted to. Or really anything else. What happened? Oh, this is throwing an error here. I think I had changed something down here earlier. There we go. It's throwing me an error. So if we do that, you can see that instead of the activity type, it's showing us the activity name. We could really put anything in there that we want that we have a metric, a measure for. So we could put metric or quantity, and that it would display whatever we tell it to. So we could put metric. And this is all pulling through the Mustache database. So whole bananas, hours. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have any of those. I think activity type makes the most sense, so we're going to leave it at that. So that's kind of that. And let's see, so that is the GET request where it's displaying that here. We've got the activity create. Let's see here, or the activity create. And so then we're going to go down here to, we've got a couple of different things that we can do. Let's actually comment this part out right here real quick. And so right here we've got get activity by category. And so what we're doing here is, this is another page here. Right here we're in the link. The value is the activity type, and we're going to this API. So the link actually takes us to a new API right here. So API activities category, and then we're bringing in the Mustache file activity type. So when we click on that link, you can see it takes us to that. That activity, and I have some issues here of displaying both of those at the same time, but regardless, it does bring us to the correct API. So if we go down here, that's what it's telling us, or that's what we're telling it to do, is to get to find this. And there's several different ways that we could do this. We could Mongoose gives you several different ways to search for things. So we could do, instead of find, we could do find one. And if we refresh, it's only going to show us one. And we could actually write several different statements to be able to find different things in here. You can also do something like where, and then write a statement in here, you know, about finding something that matches a certain thing, and there's lots of documentation on the way that Mongoose lets you do that. Another thing that you can do, and I wrote a different statement for this up here, I'm just going to comment this out. This is another way that you could do it, is find by ID. And this one I've actually made a different endpoint for. So instead of going to this category.leisure, it's going to go to ID. If we wanted to do that, we're going to need to change that in our Mustache file though. So let's copy this, this right here. We'll go to our Mustache file, and here in the link, go way way down. Instead of this API activities, let's change that to ID, and then we're going to change this to ID. And let's make sure that everything else lines up the way that we want it to. Believe so. So if we refresh, and this is basically going to do the same thing that it was already doing before, but as you can see up here at the top, it's actually bringing up a single item by the ID. And that ID is going to change depending on what we click on. So here's the ID for the bananas, and here's the ID for the riding horses. And so there's a lot of different ways you can search for that. If we had multiple items, we could just bring it by ID. Then the other way that we had it down here, you could bring them up by category. You could find different items by an array of different things. So Mongoose gives you lots of different ways to search for those things and then display that through Mustache. Anyway, I hope that that was helpful and showed a few ways that that could work. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks a lot.